If we don't have something that connects us to our place, our past, and really our future, then we're lost. Well, I started in New York City as a reporter in the old New York Post in the late 60s and 70s, and you couldn't miss what was going on in communities to save a church, to save a building, to prevent the city from demolishing blocks and blocks of housing. We were just coming out of the Robert Moses era, and there was still a lot of demolition going on. And in each place, I was inspired by the people who were standing up for what was obviously the right thing for their neighborhood. A lot of these fights were about preservation, about historic buildings. It was before the landmarks law was in effect. When I was writing all those stories, I learned about the 1965 landmarks law, but I didn't see it helping in so many of the local battles that I was writing about. So I wrote a series of articles in 1973 that helped expand the law. I was still a reporter when the League had its second meeting, and I was urged to come and write about the meeting. Soon after that, Murdoch bought the newspaper, and the League approached me and said, well, you have no excuse now not to join us because you're not a reporter at the newspaper anymore. So I joined. In 1978, I signed a contract to write my first book. And my editor, Jason Epstein, said, now you have to go to Toronto to meet Jane Jacobs. I hardly knew who she was. She became both a dear friend and a mentor. This was the second book. This focused more on downtowns around the country. This is probably my favorite book. It really is a way to see the city. This was my last book, and it's about Joan K. Davidson, who was spectacular for so many decades in helping every corner of urban issues. Although I had been writing about preservation for 2 decades, the first time I experienced it hands-on was at the Elder Street Synagogue in 1986. Water was pouring through the roof, pigeons were flying all around, dust was inches thick, but the building spoke to me, and a small group of us established the Synagogue Restoration Project. If I knew then what I know now, I never would have had the audacity to assume that the restoration could be accomplished. But I was ignorant, stubborn, and inspired. Fortunately, hundreds of equally inspired people felt the same way and signed on to keep the buildings alive. 20 years later, 20,000 donors, $20 million, and it became an historic gem, and it will enrich the city for generations to come. I served on the Landmarks Preservation Commission under Mayor Bloomberg from 2003 to 2012. Over the years, I've been involved in all the major battles in the city. Westway, Save the Theater, Trump's West Side Plan, and now both West Park Presbyterian Church and the Campaign for a Livable City. The fate of this building represents where landmarks preservation is today in this city. The commission was on the verge of de-designating this important structure so that a developer could buy it from the church and build luxury condominiums. And it's a perfect example of the kind of fight and community effort that it takes to stop the city from doing something so devastating. What's interesting, I've lived most of my life, born and raised here. I still discover things I've never seen. Streets I've never walked on, details of buildings on blocks I've walked on many times. The city is full of delightful surprises. This is really a great honor. I feel it's almost a capstone of about 60 years of writing and activism in preservation and just good urbanism all the way around. The past needs to have a future. That's what we fight for, and that's what we're all about.